It's ready.
Okay, welcome to the October 7th, 2025 Planning Commission meeting. We're going to add one thing here to the minutes. Eric Davis, the city attorney, would like to introduce himself.
Thanks. I just wanted to do a quick introduction to the members of the Planning Commission. My name's Eric Davis. I'm the city attorney for the city of Sturgis. I think it's my 4th or 5th day on the job, although I've been contracting with the city for about 6 months now. So I'll be attending your meetings and just wanted to make an introduction, but I think I already introduced myself to each of you individually.
Thank you, Eric.
Thanks.
Okay, we'll move on to item 2.1. Minutes from the Planning Commission meeting, September 3rd, 2025. Has everybody had a chance to review those?
Yes.
Is there any corrections or additions that need to be made?
Not that I've seen.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve?
I'll motion.
We have a first by Alex,
I'll second.
second by Dusty. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay, we're gonna move on to our action items here. First one is consideration of a variance to the side setback requirement abutting residential zone. Go ahead, Rick.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Tonight's first item is a variance request for the property located at 1800 Main Street. Applicants are Tim and Jill Edson. Zoning is highway service abutting a medium-density residential zone, and the proposed use would be a welding shop, which is permitted by right under the zoning, but must meet these setback standards. The variance request under ordinance 18 requires a 25-foot side setback for highway service zone property when abutting a residential district. The applicants have requested a variance to the side setback requirement abutting the residential zoned area from 25 to 13 feet, a variance of 12 feet. The reason cited is the existence of a city sewer main and an easement across the northwest corner of the property, limiting the building area. Granting of variance is governed by both South Dakota codified law and by Title 18, Article 7, Section 3 of the City of Sturgis Municipal Code. Variances can only be granted under the following conditions, which are special circumstances or conditions such as topography or a narrow lot. Variances cannot allow a use that is not permitted in that zoning district. Strict application of the ordinance must be deprive the owner of a reasonable use of the property. Mere loss in value is simply not enough. The requested variance must be the minimum adjustment necessary for the use of the property, and the variance must be in harmony with the ordinance purpose, not injurious to the neighborhood, not detrimental to the public welfare, and consistent with the comprehensive plan. The history of this is in April 2022, there was a similar request was made for a 7-foot setback, which was denied. Again, in April of 2023, the request for a 13-foot setback was denied. And the current request in 2025 is the same request that was made in 2023 from the 25-foot to the 13-foot. The staff's analysis shows that the special circumstances, the sewer line does exist, but the applicant still has a buildable area. Reasonable use of the land, the property could still be developed with a smaller or a reoriented building, and strict enforcement of this setback does not deprive reasonable use. The minimum adjustment test, the request does not represent the minimum necessary. Other design solutions are available. 25-foot buffer does serve as protection from all adjacent residential properties. Reducing these setback undermines this buffer and could negatively impact the neighbors. We have had with the previous applications, did draw neighborhood concerns about the business adjacent to the residents. While the zoning does allow this use, the setback requirement is intended to mitigate these concerns. The staff's recommendation is that the applicants have reasonable use of the land without the variance. The request is not the minimum adjustment necessary, and granting would not be in harmony with the ordinance intent. When evaluating variance requests, it's critical the board apply the legal standards strictly. The applicant must demonstrate the hardship tied to the unique physical conditions of the property, not simply preference for building design. In this case, the staff finds that the standards have not been met and therefore recommends denial.
Okay. With that, Tim and Jill are here. If you'd introduce yourself, be great, and go ahead. Any comments you have?
My name is Kellen Willert. I'm an attorney, and I represent Tim and Jill, pardon me. And I suppose, we're prepared to make a presentation for this hearing if there's other members of the public that would like to speak first. I think that might be beneficial. Then we can address any of those concerns as opposed to coming back to the podium to address those concerns.
Okay, with the public comment period, we can definitely have the public speak. If you could introduce yourself and please speak into the mic and keep it to 3 minutes, we would appreciate it. First comment.
Good evening. I'm Steve Kessler. I'm going to represent my brother Terry and my sister-in-law Barb that live right across the street. They unfortunately could not be here to prior commitments. I also will represent, I see a lot of the people in the neighborhood are here too. I'll read this letter that my brother prepared. I believe he sent it to all of you also, but I'll read it aloud. We are Terry and Barb Kessler. We have lived in our home at 1745 Main Street for 39 years. This letter is in regard to the variance request for lot 1800 Main Street by Tim and Jill Edson. That lot runs continuously with the 1700 Main Street residential block. This variance request will make the third time in less than 4 years that we must defend our neighborhood and our property investment. Previously, the City of Sturgis and SEDC have attempted to assist the Edsons in finding an appropriate site for their industrial type business. Why? Because it is realized a welding business does not belong in a residential area. The neighborhood property owners have always been against an industrial business on the block. We also believe any neighborhood in Sturgis would feel as we do. The request is for a 12-foot variance to the side setback, which is the same as the 2023 request. We are not sure what has changed since then. The city requires a side setback of 25 feet. The setback is in place for a reason, to safeguard neighborhoods. This case is a perfect example for the 25-foot setback between highway service and a residential area. The shape of the lot should not be considered in the variance request. The footprint of the lot has not changed since purchase. It would have been prudent for the purchaser to determine the desired use of the lot and the feasibility of the lot to accommodate that use prior to purchase. A requirement for granting a variance includes the enhancement of the neighborhood. A welding shop by its very nature, which with increased air, noise, pollution, additional traffic, and visible commercial material is inconsistent with the environment desired by residents living in close proximity and would not enhance a residential zone. A welding business adjacent to homes would inevitably affect value and future resale of those homes also. The past or present easement question should have no bearing on your decision. This is about the variance request. 1800 Main Street should be zoned residential, and everybody knows it. Don't make our neighborhood the victims to this. 2 parallel requests have been through planning and zoning and city council previously. Each time those requests were denied unanimously. We pray that planning and zoning recommends denial of the variance request to the Sturgis City Council. Thank you, respectfully submitted, Terry and Barb.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for her? Do not? Okay. Anybody else from the public want to speak?
Hi, my name is Susan Leto. I live at 1723 Main Street. My husband and I purchased our home for my mother-in-law a little over 20 years ago. The variance request from the Edsons is the same request they have made in the past. I don't understand why they keep coming back with this. The answer is no. In the past, it should be again. My husband passed away in March of 2023, but he was at a city council meeting the first time the Edsons made this request. He pointed out that if the Edsons had done their homework before buying this property, they would have known the issues that they would be facing, and I agree with that completely. I've been told that Mr. Edson believes this is a high-traffic area. I'd like to make him aware that it is not. It's primarily local traffic, except for the people that work at the cement plant and the bus company. Would any of you want a welding shop in your neighborhood? Mr. Edson, I have no idea where you live, but would your neighbors think about a welding shop in your neighborhood? I don't think so. It does not belong in a residential neighborhood. If the Edsons would be willing to have this lot rezoned residential, I'm sure that you could easily sell it and purchase property in a more suitable area. Myself, I'm close to retirement age. At some point in time, I'll be selling my home to help with my retirement. If this welding shop is built in our neighborhood, the value of our homes will decrease, and it will make a difference in my retirement. I respectfully request that the Planning and Zoning Committee and the City of Sturgis deny this request. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Come on up, sir.
My name is Gary Meyer. I live at 1829 Main Street, which is directly across the street from the proposed welding shop. I've looked at the concerns that homeowners in this neighborhood have given. One is that residential and industry do not belong together. Across the street from the proposed welding shop was Dakota Grain and Mill. It's been under different names for over 70 years, but when it was open, it served this community well, along with farmers and ranchers. There once was a welding shop 2 blocks on Main Street. It was owned by Gene Lucas, who was an expert welder, good friend, and good neighbor. Having industry next door exists in several areas in Sturgis. In some cases, industry was there first, and that's true of this case. There was a gas station at this site, which is still zoned highway service. I don't know Tim and Jill Edson at all, but I can see that they are persistent, hardworking, honest, and willing to listen. Why go through all this if you're not? They've invested time and money hoping for a piece of the American dream, and aren't we all? Another concern is the safety of the children. We raise our kids to be careful around buildings, equipment, and workers. Likewise, industry has the responsibility to keep their workers safe and the people who live in the area. They have families too, and are just as concerned as we are. We want the best for our kids, but we also let them make choices on their own. And as they get older and more mature, and they get into high school, maybe they want to enroll in welding class. So what would your reaction be? Is it safe? Is it a smart choice? The welding trade has benefited from a great deal of new technology, which makes the job safer and more productive. Because there is a current shortage of welders, many companies are willing to pay their training and pay a higher salary for a man or woman willing to work hard and perform. And there's a good chance you can get 6 figures salary in 5 years. So what if your son or daughter was in welding class and decides to work as an intern welder, possibly for Tim and Jill Edson at your neighborhood welding shop? Is that possible? I say, why not? It takes a mixture of understanding, compassion, and common sense to be a good neighbor. Personally, I have to be positive about the way I treat people. What comes around goes around. I really believe that if we give Tim and Jill a chance at their dream, this neighborhood and this city will be well rewarded. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is there any other public comment?
Mr. Chairman, I did receive some written comment, as when we, by ordinance, we're required to notice all of the property owners within 200 feet. I'd like to, if there's no other comment from the public now, I'd like to read those in.
Please.
First one is from Stephen Kinsfater, a property owner at 1732 Main Street and 1732 and a half. Dear Sturgis Planning and Zoning members, I was optimistic that after the last two attempts that this unfortunate situation would be permanently resolved. But here we go, round three. Talking to people who were involved in trying to remedy this situation, they tell me that it seemed a waste of time, no real interest on the property owner's part. The misinformed purchase of this property should not be the problem of the property owners of the area. We purchased our property in good faith that a new fabrication business would not affect our investments. It is a quiet neighborhood with an increase in noise, clutter, air pollution, traffic, and other undesirables. How can property values not be negatively affected? This entire situation makes no sense with a perfectly good industrial park on the edge of town. I ask that this request be denied again and the situation be permanently resolved. Respectfully, Steve Kinsfater. Next, I have a note from Travis and Amy Towery, who reside at 1749 Main Street. To the Planning and Zoning Commission, we live at 1749 Main Street. We purchased the home last year because we love the neighborhood and everything in it. Outside of the Sturgis Rally, our neighborhood is quiet and safe to all who live here. Many children reside in the neighborhood. We have heard about the issues with 1800 Main Street, and we think it would be detrimental to property values. We also think that a welding shop does not belong in this residential neighborhood. The extra traffic and noise this would bring to our neighborhood is cause for concern. Extra traffic is a safety risk for the children, and the noise this would bring turns our peaceful neighborhood into an industrial park. 1800 Main Street should be zoned residential so that a home could be built on it. We strongly feel that this variance should be denied. Travis and Amy Towery. Joseph Bryant. Sorry, I'm not sure where exact, 1724 Main Street.
I apologize. Do you have copies of those that I could read along with while you read them? Or?
I don't. I can get you copies if you want to submit a request, but I don't have them for you tonight. Dear City of Sturgis Planning and Zoning Commissioner, for the third time we are requesting that you deny the variance request of Tim and Jill Edson of 1800 Main Street. In 2022, 23, and now in 25, we're seeing a variance request from Tim and Jill Edson of 1800 Main Street. The requests all deal with the encroaching on the residential neighborhood that abuts their property. I'm not going to go into, he goes into the chronological order of the previous request. Basically, I once again request your vote in denying this variance setback. We have seen a lack of willingness to change plans by the property owners through the previous setback request, as shown at both previous planning and zoning and city council meetings. Thank you for your consideration in denying this variance request. Joseph Bryant, representative of my grandma Cora Rottenbutcher, who resides at 1724 Main Street, Sturgis, for over 65 years. Lastly, I have one from Darcy and Kathleen Foster. My name is Darcy Foster. My wife Kathy and I have owned the property at 1722 Main Street since 2013. In my opinion, the zoning of this property made sense when the roadway adjacent to it was the route taken to get to Deadwood. That is not the situation today. I know my opinion on the zoning is not relevant on this particular matter, but I need to convey my thoughts that this lot should have been rezoned residential long ago. The request for a side yard variance for this property has been denied twice in the last 4 years, making this time the third attempt. The 25-foot setback was designed to give some protection to the adjacent residential lot from possible noise and air pollution. By reducing this to 12 feet would eliminate that protection, which is unfair to the homeowner. The 1700 block of Sturgis is a peaceful neighborhood occupied by working folks, families with children, and retired people. An industrial business will add more traffic and disrupt the quiet harmony of the area and undoubtedly affect our property values. It does not belong here. Please deny the request for the 12-foot variance for this property. Thank you, Darcy and Catherine Foster. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay,
All right, thank you. To address some of the concerns that were raised by some of the other citizens, thank you. I think it's clear that most of their concerns are they're unhappy with the zoning, which the zoning's not an issue here. This is an allowed use of that property. In terms of the last comment from the Fosters, that it will, it's designed to protect the neighboring lot, and it would be quote unfair to the homeowner, end quote. That's really a non-issue because the adjacent lot is vacant as well. If you folks look at the map, I think it's the first map probably in your packet, this one. You can see my client's property in the black square, and that property just to the east is a vacant lot. So it doesn't actually impact any immediate adjacent homeowner because there is not one there. There was a comment from, I believe it was Ms. Leto, about my clients not doing their homework when they purchased the property, but I'm here to tell you folks, there's no recorded easement for your sewer line there. I've been unable to find one, my clients have been unable to find one, and the city has not provided us with one, although those requests were made, I think, a year or two ago. So the easement is in question. My clients would be willing to work with the city and negotiate an easement to accomplish that, so we don't have to litigate any of those issues or potentially move the sewer line. A lot of the other concerns, like I said, were about the fact that it's welding. It used to be a gas station. That's also an option for my clients. I don't think the neighbors would be happy with a gas station there either. Comments about the noise and everything. The reason that my clients desired to put that size building in, which they did change their plans from the first variance request, was to be able to ensure that all of the operations will be indoor inside the building. If my clients build a smaller building to do their welding operations, then they may need to do operations outside, which certainly the neighbors wouldn't want that. If I were a direct neighbor, I would prefer all of those operations to be done indoors as well. There was some discussion about the neighboring Dakota Grain and Mill buildings. Those are just to the west of my client's lot. I guess I'm not sure what operations are going on there, but that is zoned for that type of purpose, just as my client's property is. I want to make it clear, and I defer to your attorney, but this commission is not bound by any prior decisions made by your predecessors. So there's no precedent set or anything like that. In terms of prior projects or experience, I would just ask my client Tim to just describe his prior experience welding, his prior experience building buildings like this and doing his operations. So if you do that now, Tim.
I've been doing this for my whole working life, so going on 40 years now, and this would be the this would be the fourth project in 3 different states. When I started with a piece of dirt and built a shop, and then started my business and kept my business going. I've had the same business since '97, so 30 years. So every other business I've had in North Dakota and in Michigan, I've had 0 problems with neighbors. I've always maintained my property, kept it up. It's not a place to store a bunch of junk or anything like that, but I know there's some concerns from the neighbors, but my past experiences, I've had no issues whatsoever with the neighbors. And had this gone through last time or the time before, the shop would be up, and it'd be a year or 2 later, and I could, my honest opinion would be the neighbors would be like, oh, it's not a big deal. It's not what we thought it was going to be. He does take care of his property, does look out for us. So, I'm getting painted in a bad light, I seem, but, and nobody knows me, but, it's just past experience. I've never had no issues, and not planning on having any in the future.
And Tim, in terms of the adjacent residential lot to the east, would you be willing to build a privacy fence if this commission wanted you to have a privacy fence?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's not a big deal. And I could see that too, but.
And Tim, there was some discussion from one of the comments about how you should work with EDC and find a different lot. What are your comments?
Well, we had and I don't know if any of the neighbors know this, but before the new mayor came in, me and Mark Karstensen, we put a deal together where they were going to buy the lot from me. I was going to buy a lot in the park, and I was ready to get push the go button. I had everybody lined up, all the contractors lined up and everything, but the deal, the SEDC deal didn't go my way, and I told Karstensen going in, at the time, my numbers, my tax returns and my numbers weren't justifiable to get a loan, and he said it's not an issue, but we'll work on that. And I'll be honest with you, I've got over 800 credit score, and I own everything. I own all my land, all my house, everything I own. The bank doesn't have no bills, but I got denied in the 11th hour from the SEDC. So that's why we're here again. And I don't know if any of the neighbors know that.
And Tim, how many years have you been in the welding business?
My whole life, so 40 years. So.
Okay. And so some of the requirements for granting a variance like this is to show that it's not contrary to the public interest. Again, this isn't allowed use in that footprint or in that lot. And that's what the complaints were about. They want you to rezone it residential. That's not what's before this commission today. It's in the public interest because it's an allowed use. Another factor is that literal enforcement presents an unnecessary hardship. So if you look at the map, I think it's the last map, this one in your packet, where your sewer line is currently located presents this unnecessary hardship. I think some of the neighbors, one of the ones across the street, I'm not sure if they're kitty corner, but with this design or this location of the building, it may actually push the building further away from them, which would be, I would think, a benefit to them. So we have the unnecessary hardship there. The next factor is that by granting the variance, it would be within the spirit of the ordinance observed. Again, I think that you could grant that, and it would be in the spirit of the ordinance. Again, the immediately adjacent residential lot is vacant, it's unoccupied, and my client's willing to build a privacy fence if that's what you would want him to do as a condition. The last factor is that by granting the permit, substantial justice will be done. My client and his family moved here, and then they're trying to open this business. They've tried to work with the city. It's no secret that the city of Sturgis has gone through quite a few changes over the last couple of years in terms of leadership and the structure of the government and everything. He had a prior agreement that was set up with the city, and with discussions with SEDC, those fell through. This would allow my client to build this shop, increase the taxable revenue that you get off of that lot, and to start his operations and potentially get some interns in there to start training people in the trades, which we all know is needed in the years going forward. And so with that, my clients would really like to see getting the variance. If you have other conditions to put on the variance, let us know. That they're probably going to be agreeable conditions. Another thing is if we can take care of the easement in your sewer line, now would probably be a good time to do that. Lastly, if the city's interested in buying the property and you won't grant the variance, that can be a discussion down the road as well. I know that this body wouldn't have anything to do with that, but based on the evidence before you at this hearing, that the main concern from the public is they don't want a welding shop on that lot, which is expressly allowed per your ordinances. And again, if my client builds a smaller shop, then he's going to be forced, or could be forced, to do some of his operations outside, which would, in the neighbor's best interests, I don't think. But it, again, would be an allowed use. And with that, we would be happy to answer any questions that you may have as a commission and request that you grant the variance.
Amanda, did you have something? One more public comment.
I just wanted to make a point of clarity on when Tim was referencing the deal that was made with the former mayor and the loan. That loan was from the city, and it was the city council that denied that request in that part of the package. It wasn't SEDC, it was a council decision.
Thanks, Amanda. Okay. Is there any comment from the commission? Or questions?
I had a question, I suppose. So you do have alternate designs of a smaller shop?
Not here with me, that was, I looked at that, and I think the biggest one I could do, staying in the setbacks, was around 32 feet by 65 feet or 70 feet, or I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's like a big size garage type, 32 feet it's not really doable.
So with that design, it would push any production outside, perhaps in some scenarios?
Absolutely. I mean, it would, it's not, absolutely.
Any other questions?
Rick, with that sewer line there, how does that easement all work with that? There
is not a recorded easement. I guess, in my mind, there is records of it dating back 50 plus years. So I would, my personal opinion and my professional opinion as a land surveyor is that there's a prescriptive easement in place on that, simply due to the open notorious use and the time frame that there is by prescription an easement on that sewer line.
Could I make a comment on that? So if you look, do you guys have the prior packets in front of you by chance?
No.
Well, in the 2022 packet, there was, it looks like there's at least portions of an owner's and encumbrance report, and I don't see anything of record about that easement. Now, there might be other files with the city or what have you showing the sewer line. In terms of a prescriptive easement, that's something that has to be litigated, and we're trying to avoid that tonight, and try to work with the city. In terms of open use, I think your average layperson could go walk that site, and yep, you might see some manholes, but I mean, you can't see the sewer line underground.
I have a comment, staying with what we're here to consider is the variance for the side yard setback. A welding shop is usable or doable on that site per the way it's laid out. But we need to keep in consideration that this is a consideration of variance to side yard setback that we're looking at. And it's from 25 feet to the 13 feet. That's really what we're here to look at tonight. So let's keep that in mind as well. Okay, any other public comment? Eric, Rick, do you have any comment?
I don't.
Okay. Hearing none, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to deny
The side yard
the
setback.
side yard setback.
Okay,
I'll second it.
we have a first by Dusty and a second by Tom. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
Just a reminder to the commission and to the members of the public, the planning commission, it's a recommendation to deny. The ultimate decision-making authority will be the Board of Adjustment. The Sturgis City Council, sitting as the Board of Adjustment, they are conducting a public hearing on this at their October 20th meeting.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, folks.
All right, thank you.
Moving on to 3.2. This is a consideration of a final plat of Lot 2A and Block 29 of Ashes Extension. Go ahead, Rick.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Up for the consideration by the Planning Commission is the final plat of Lot 2A in Block 29 of Ashes Extension, which is formerly Lots 2, 3A, 3B, and of Block 29 Ashes Extension. Subject property is located within Block 29 of Ashes Extension to the City of Sturgis and is zoned as medium-density residential. Medium-density residential zoning district provides for 1- and 2-family residential uses, as well as certain compatible uses such as recreation, religion, and education facilities upon review. The applicants for this plat are Donald Hanna and Barbara Hanna. And pursuant to Title 180504, the following regulations do apply to the medium-density residential property. The permitted uses are detached and attached single-family dwellings up to 8 units, manufactured homes on foundations, incidental construction buildings, small storage structures, accessory structures with setbacks, and small agricultural gardens. Area regulations, front yard is a minimum setback of 10 feet, side yard 5 feet. A corner lot side yard is 18 feet, and a rear yard of 10 feet. The lot width must be a minimum of 50 feet, and the lot area a minimum of 6,000 square feet. Alley and garage setbacks are 10 feet, and each dwelling must provide at least 400 square feet of hard surface parking configured for 2 vehicles. Floodplain requirements require the finished floor elevation to be 1 foot above the base flood elevation if mapped within a FEMA floodplain. The proposed plat before you tonight consolidates lots 2, 3A, and through 3B of Block 29 into one single lot identified as 2A. The replat is intended to create a single buildable parcel consistent with the zoning requirements. The final plat meets the minimum lot area, the width, and dimensional requirements of the medium-density residential district and aligns with the city subdivision ordinance requirements. Staff recommends final approval of the plat as submitted.
Thank you, Rick. Shannon, do you have anything to say?
No, Shannon Boston's Baseline Surveying. I'm just here to see if you had any questions on the plat itself, so.
Nothing changed from the preliminary, did it?
No.
Any public comments or concerns? Any comments or concerns from the commission? Okay, well, is there a motion?
I motion to approve the plat as submitted.
We have a first by Dave.
I'll second.
We have a second by Alex. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. On to 3.3, consideration of final plats of 7A, 7B, and 7C in Block 1 of Lot 12.
Perfect, thank you, Chairman. The subject property is located in Block 1 of Lot 12 of the northeast quarter, the southwest quarter of the Section 4, Township 5 North, Range 5 East, Black Hills Meridian. The medium-density residential district allows for detached and unattached single-family homes, manufactured homes on foundations, and townhomes, among other uses. Townhomes are specifically addressed within the medium-density residential zoning and require that each unit be platted on a separate lot with common walls to be the property lines. Each lot is required to have an individual water and sewer service. The applicants for this lot, or for this plat, are Larry Harris and Beth Harris. Pursuant to Title 180504 of the medium-density residential zoning, the townhouse regulations, the following standards apply. The lot area and width of townhomes, a minimum lot area of 3,500 square feet per townhome lot, and a minimum lot width of 35 feet with the standard medium-density residential setbacks. The proposed plat converts two existing lots, which are 7 and 8, into 3 new lots, 7A, 7B, and 7C, to accommodate a multifamily townhouse development. The design places common walls along the property lines consistent with the medium-density residential townhouse zoning requirements. Each new lot provides adequate lot width, lot area to conform with Title 18 standards, and the plat does align with the city's subdivision ordinance. This replat will allow for the construction of a townhouse project that increases residential density while remaining consistent with the MDR zoning. The creation of the 3 lots from 2 facilitates individually platted townhome units as required by the ordinance, and the proposed plat satisfies the medium-density residential zoning and townhome requirement for lot area, width, and coverage and parking. No variances are requested as part of this action. Staff has reviewed the plat and finds it in conformance with Title 18 and Title 19 and recommends approval of the final plat as presented.
Thank you, Rick. Any comments from the public?
Shannon from Baseline Surveying again. Just wanted to point out that, as Rick mentioned, this is a townhome project, and my company will also be doing the staking for the foundations on this project, which I feel is important so that those common walls do meet where the property lines on this plat are. So
Okay.
I just want to point that out, that is being done, so to assure that it is built right. So
Thank you. Go ahead.
Amanda Anglin, Executive Director of the Sturgis Economic Development Corporation, and I just wanted to comment based on what I saw in the packet that this townhome development hits items within our housing study, and it's definitely something that's needed for our community, and I really like what I saw there. And it also helps us, infill is something that I haven't seen done a lot within Sturgis, and it just adds, we don't have to add additional infrastructure and things like that onto the system. So I'm really encouraged by this project, and I'd like to see more things like this happen in Sturgis. So
Thank you. Seeing no other public comment, any questions or comments from the board?
No.
Okay, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Have a first by Alex,
Second.
second by Dusty. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We have no other public comment. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Have a first by Dave, second.
I'll second it.
Rose or Tom? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Meeting adjourned.